Monica, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm doing good, thank you. So I just wanted to start out a little bit with just going over kind of how today's going to work. I'll do a brief little bit on confidentiality, then we'll just kind of see what brought you in, and then I'll be asking some questions and just kind of trying to get the big picture of why you're here. Do you know what confidentiality is?
Yeah, I have a pretty general idea of it.
So basically, anything that happens in here is confidential. I don't go out and talk about it. There are two times when I am required to report or tell someone, and that is if you are a harm to yourself or if I believe that you are a harm to somebody else. So as long as those two things do not occur, then everything that we say in this session will be confidential. Do you have any questions about that?
No, that makes sense to me.
Perfect. Okay. And then let's just get into this. What is the reason that brought you in today?
Yeah, I'm just really hoping I can talk to someone. I've been a single mom. I got pregnant at the age of 17 and I'm older now. It's just been a really hard transitional phase in my life where I've had to raise my kid by myself, and I think it's taken a huge toll on my mental health. So I'm really hoping I can just kind of talk to someone about everything I'm going through.
Okay. And how old are you now?
So right now I'm 25.
25. And what's your date of birth?
My date of birth is October 30th of 96.
Perfect. All right. Great. Okay. And what do you think has been kind of the biggest struggle with being a single mom for you?
So I think the biggest struggle is just having to do everything myself. My son is a lot older now. And I've had to just rely on myself. Everything from doctor appointments, school, friends, anything that's ever happened in our lives, it's been my responsibility. It was really hard when he was a baby, but I pushed through that, and I think it's taking a toll on me now from all those years ago.
That it sounds like it could definitely be hard. And I just want to say that, you're taking that first step and one of the hardest step, which is coming year. So, you know, think about that you are making that very first big leap. Tell me a little bit about your living arrangements. Where do you live?
So I live in an apartment. It's me and my son. It's just a one bedroom. It's all I can afford right now.
Mhm.
He's getting older, so it's been stressing me out a lot because he deserves his own privacy. I'm a working mom. I try to provide for him as best as I can, and I just keep thinking about when he gets older, what I'm going to do. Um, Eventually, I want to move into a house, but right now it's an apartment.
And are you seeing anybody or are you single?
I'm right now I'm single. I don't have the best track record with relationships. I think I have a very hard time committing because I've had a lot of issues with his biological father, and I think they've kind of made it difficult for me to rely on men.
Right. What about family support? Do you have any family support?
So my parents live out of state, but I talk to them a lot. They try to support me when they can. They are really generous. They're getting older, so they help when they can. Um, I only have one sibling. They are not on their feet, so they're trying to figure their life out for themselves. I
Mm.
have some family, friend support. I mean, I consider them family, and that's been kind of nice. I hate to burden them. It's really hard just to kind of lay all my problems on my friends when they have their own lives.
So would you consider some of these friends to be your support group?
Oh yes, my friends are amazing. They love my son as if he was their own. They weren't always there for him. I haven't known them for that long, a couple years maybe, but not his whole life. But they are a huge support system in my life.
They help with babysitting when you need it, things like that?
Occasionally, it's really rare that I ever build up the courage to ask them. I mentioned I just don't like to be a burden, but I do know if I need like an emergency situation, someone will step up and take him for a night or so if it's needed.
And I do keep hearing you say this word burden. Um, when you are thinking about asking a friend for help, how are you feeling um, when you're going to ask them?
Yeah, so I think I get this idea in my head that if I stop and ask for help, it's just like showing that I'm not capable. And I think that's where a lot of my problems are stemming from because I know I have loved ones around me who are willing to help. So it kind of makes me feel like I'm almost not a good parent. I've had to do this for so long by myself. I think I'm just getting to the point where I'm realizing that I need help or my son's not going to benefit from having me as a mom.
Right. Uh, well, there's no manual out there to be a good parent, and that's one thing to keep in mind. That reaching out for help is a strength, and it's a hard thing to do, but it is a strength to be able to do that. Um, Tell me, what do you think your strengths are?
I love my son with my whole heart. A huge strength is that I'm going to do my hardest and try my hardest to make sure I can provide for him. So I think that's a huge strength because he's going to come first for everything. I think another really good strength is that I have a lot of qualities to pertain like my job. I've held the same job since he was born. So I've been there for a really long time, and that's a really nice strength because they're flexible, just because I'm flexible.
Yeah, that is a really good one to be able to show that you can maintain a job. Where do you work at?
Yeah, so I work at a group. It's like a group home, I would say. I help just prepare food for them and I kind of do their cleaning. So it's almost like a cleaning maid service, but it's more like I get to interact with them. I'm just not licensed in any form to provide treatment.
So one of your strengths is you're a very caring person, huh? To be able to have that type of job, cleaning and interacting with people.
Oh, yeah, I would say so. I don't really share that often, but I love kids. So yeah.
Now just another question I just have to ask is, do you have a history of being homeless?
We don't. I've always maintained this job. And I mentioned we always haven't had the best living arrangements, but I've
Mhm.
always been able to put a roof over his head.
That's a really good accomplishment to have. Now, a little bit of just history on your family. Does anybody in your family have any mental health or substance abuse history that you know of?
Not any substance abuse history. I know there's some depression that runs in my family. Um,
Is that on your mom's side, your dad, or who struggles with that?
it's on my dad's side. Um, and I believe that's just one of the major mental health issues my family struggles with is depression.
And what are some current issues that you're struggling with?
Right now, I think I'm struggling with almost a loss of like identity in a way. I'm not sure what my next steps are in life. Um, I feel like I don't know where I'm going or if I feel like I'm not successful. I kind of feel like a failure. I know I gave my whole life to my son. And I hate to say this, but in a way, I have a little of maybe, I don't think it's hatred, but I feel like my life could have been something different had I not gotten pregnant so young.
Yeah, it's normal to wonder the what ifs. And when you think about, what you would have liked to do, what is coming to mind like when you're thinking you're a failure? Is it job? Is it what is it that you think you need to be successful? What does success look like to you?
I think job wise, I would have loved to go to college. I would have loved to graduated, and business has always been a huge goal of mine. And I'm young. I have a lot of life to live.
Yeah. So,
I I know that. So yeah.
those are all really good aspirations to have. And we actually offer case management here that can kind of help guide you on how to do some of these things if, you're interested. When we're done with the assessment, that's something we can talk about in the next session. Is that something you'd be interested in hearing about?
Yeah, that would be awesome. I think that would kind of help me get a good idea of what I want to do with my life and what would be beneficial for helping me get like these thoughts out of my head.
Yeah. No, okay. So I just made a note here that, the next session will go over case management and the different things they can help you with. Just moving on a little bit more, we're going to go into talking about kind of your medical history. Do you have any current diagnoses? Like, are you taking any medications?
So I'm not taking any medications right now. I've been told to start seeing someone who can prescribe medications. I'm just not sure what I'm needing to help me kind of get through my everyday tasks.
Okay, so you might need some mental health medication, and we have somebody here in our clinic who a primary physician that if you're needing that, we can definitely look at the medication route. What about like do you have any diagnoses that are not mental health that you take medication for?
No, I stay up on my vitamins, but no diagnoses that make me take any other medications.
Perfect. And have you had any major surgeries?
Um, no, just the birth of my son.
Which is definitely major, yeah. Um, have you ever had a head injury, a severe head injury?
No, I have not.
What about any weight problems in the last 6 months where your weight just goes up and then down?
No, I haven't really experienced that. I feel like after the pregnancy, it was kind of hard to lose a lot of the weight, and I still have a lot of the pregnancy weight. I just kind of come to terms with it, and maybe that's something I struggle with today still, but it's not something I stress about anymore.
I mean, that's good that you're, feeling more comfortable in your skin. Um, so what about your employment history? I know you've been there since your kid was born. Um, what was the last grade that you completed before getting this job and having your baby?
So I did graduate high school. I got pregnant at 17, had him around 18. So I was able to finish at my high school. So that's the highest grade level.
Yeah, okay. And then you said that you've gone to the doctor and they've mentioned possible some medication just to deal with your daily life struggles, but you're not currently on any. Have you ever self-medicated for any of this?
Um, I mean, when I was younger, I tried a couple things here and there.
Okay,
Um,
what did you try?
um, I would just say maybe I tried a couple of pills when I was out partying with friends. Um, I used to go to like those fun, huge parties with the music. So that was ages ago, I feel like now, but
Yeah. Okay. And you've not really tried any other pills or different substances since kind of your high school days?
no, I have maybe considered it every now and then when I get like really stressed. But I try to just think about my son. So that has not really been something I've ever thought about doing with him in my presence.
When you are really stressed and it's kind of in your mind, what what substance or pill are you thinking about?
Maybe just like going out and smoking with my friends. A lot of my friends do that, so we used to always go out and drink, and at parties they still get to go out and go to the bars. So that substance maybe. I know
When
you
you
asked
say
about
Yeah, when you say smoking, is it marijuana? Is it tobacco?
marijuana. I've never tried tobacco. And I know you mentioned like substance abuse like in the past, but we don't have any diagnosis in my family, so I'm very cautious about that. And I did mention like I would never want to lose my son, so he takes priority over anything.
That's really great. You really are, a really good mom from what you're saying. Like you are very aware of, what affects him, what could affect you and your guys' relationship. So that's it's really good. Um, have you had any legal troubles in the past?
I have not.
Right. Just taking note, no legal troubles. Right. So far we're doing really good. You've given me a lot of information and I know how hard it is to talk to, a stranger right off the bat and be so open. So I really want to thank you for that. I just want to go back a little bit for when we were talking about kind of some of the things that you were feeling when you were saying that you were feeling like a failure. When you're feeling that way, when you say you're feeling like a failure, can you describe what it looks like when you get into that kind of that mindset, like physically, mentally, kind of a little bit more on what it looks like for you?
Yeah, so when I have the thoughts that I feel like a failure, I just really lose a lot of my energy. I do not want to engage in a lot of the activities like going outside with my son or playing sports with him. Um, and I just want to be inside. I tend to forget a lot of my um, duties for myself. So I think self-care is lost in the mist when I get in my moods. And then most importantly, I'm very emotional. I cry a lot when I get those thoughts.
That that would be hard when you're inside and you're just not feeling very great. When you say that you stay inside and you cry a lot, um, are you having your son around you? Is he in his room, or where's he at when this is happening?
So when he's wanting to do this activity aspect, he's either in the living room or like watching TV and I'll be in my room. He's old enough to know like right versus wrong, so I trust him being out in the living room and I'll be in the room. And then I don't cry in front of him. I try to keep the strong motherly figure. So a lot of the crying happens either when he's at school, before I go to work, or when I go to sleep.
Right. How long do you think that type of feeling, the failure feeling and the crying and being alone lasts for?
Um, it comes and goes. So if it comes like on a random day, I feel like that for maybe a couple of hours and then it goes away. Um, but there have been times where I felt like that for maybe like almost a week straight and it would not go away no matter how hard I tried. But I have a son, so I had to keep going on with my life. I couldn't just lay in bed all week. I had a job to go to and I had to take him to school.
And when was the last time that you've had that feeling?
Um, let's see. I'd say maybe almost a month ago.
A month ago. And how long do you think that it lasted to your best memory?
That one was real rough. Um, I think that one was closer to a week. That was probably one of the longer ones.
Yeah. Is that kind of what made you think that it might be time to seek
I
some
think,
help?
oh yeah, I think it kind of pushed me over because I think that's when a lot of the feelings of blame and like I mentioned, hatred towards like having my son came from. And I love my son, so I do not want to have any resentment towards him.
Right. And that's really strong of you. So again, I want to thank you for having, that courage to come in. Um, After kind of listening to you, what I'm understanding is that you're really struggling with feeling down. And when you are feeling down, you kind of self isolate in your room, and that can last for an hour, a couple weeks, where you really hold it all in, and you'll cry privately. You'll kind of just put on a fake mask when you are around your son, but when you're not around, you kind of break down a little bit and just kind of just feel like you're not doing the best that you could. And that's what brought you in to try and find a new way and a better way to get to where you want to be. Does that sound accurate to you?
Yeah, and just hearing you say that, it makes me realize that I need to work on asking for help. I have so much support, but I should not be isolating myself. So that is very accurate.
So I guess now what we'll be doing, because we've gone over a lot of information, and I can kind of see that some of the main things that you are struggling with is kind of getting out of that feeling when it does come over. Um, Not kind of unsure about where to start in, getting into school, college, and finding a way to make your life more meaningful to you in attending school. And we talked about case management, which we'll go over in the next session. And then, we will talk about, kind of the diagnoses that we're thinking that you're struggling with. And we'll even create some goals for you based upon around what you want to achieve. Um, does that sound okay with you next session to create some goals, go over the findings of this assessment and the assessment that you took online before you came in? Does that sound okay?
Yeah, that sounds awesome.
Now, is there anything else that you think that I should know before we wrap this session up?
Um, I think sometimes it might be important for you to know. Sometimes I kind of switch a little bit. I don't know if that makes sense. Um, like today, I'm really focused on wanting to seek help and maybe get into college, and I have all these goals. But maybe next time you see me, I might just be in a different mood completely. And that tends to happen quite a bit. Um, so I think that's something you should just um, be aware of, and just so you have a heads up for if next time you see me, I might seem a little different than today. Um, that's
Change is scary. And I think everybody, when they're at that point where they're about to, jump off into the unknown, can sometimes be a little scared, right? And that can make them hold back a little bit. But I'll work with you, and if you work as well as being open about how you're feeling and what's bothering you or what's scaring you about taking that next step, as well as your case manager, because the case manager is there to make it make it a little easier in knowing, where to start, what's my next step, where am I at, those type of things, because you are a single mom and there are a lot of resources out there to help you. And I know that, you struggle with asking for help, but, working with the case manager and knowing what your resources are might make it a little easier on you. But if you can, kind of maintain that open and honest, like, this is what I'm struggling with, this is why I think I'm changing my mind back and forth, then we'll be able to, you know, help develop a plan to get you to where you ultimately want to be. And even if where you want to be changes from today and we find out that it's kind of a different path, our goal is going to be to help you overcome the feelings that you feel, or at least give you skills to cope with them so they happen, less often, and you're able to get through them in a shorter time period.
Yeah, okay, well, thank you. That kind of gives me some reassurance. Change is really scary. It's always been me and my son, so I'm I'm happy that I took this step and I'm really excited to see where it takes me. So thank you.
Yeah, I'm really happy that you were able to take this step too. It's it's the biggest step, honestly, and one of the hardest, to make a call and say I need help. It's really hard. Um Now, were you able to schedule with the front desk for our next session
I do have my next appointment scheduled for next week, actually.
for next week?
Yes.
Fantastic. And in terms of transportation, you have a ride here.
I do have a ride. I'm in the process of working on getting um, making sure times line up with school. My son was supposed to have after school activities, so I'm gonna make sure it lines up. If it doesn't, I'll call and change it to when he's in school. It just has to line up with school activities and work. So right now, fingers are crossed that the activity falls on that day.
Okay. Well, I guess, one thing that, we can kind of assign for you as your homework assignment is to, go home and today or tomorrow look at the calendars, look at the school calendars and your work calendar, and when you next come in, and just make sure that they do line up. And as soon as you know if they do or don't, just reach out with the times that will work for you and get rescheduled, because it is really important, that you are able to keep that consistency of coming in so we can get you to where you want to be.
Okay, I will work on that either tonight or tomorrow.
All right. Well, Madison, Monica, thank you for coming in. I really appreciate you taking the time, and here's my card, and if you need anything you can give us a ring here. I'm here from 8 to 5, and if you get my voicemail, just leave me a voicemail and I will reach out to you when I'm able to. Okay.
Okay, thank you so much. I will see you next week.
All right, have a good day.
You as well. See ya.